And what we're going to do in this quick talk is we're going to see a head-to-head comparison of the Janus-Pro model that was released a couple weeks ago against the Moondream model that was released a couple weeks ago. Go ahead and drop in the chat if you've heard of either one of these models. If you've heard of both Janus and Moondream, drop JM. If you've heard of one or the other, drop J or M. Or if you haven't heard of any of these models, let me know as well. But so kind of the genesis of this project or little hacking session that I had was when I was reading the technical report about Janus Pro from DeepSeek AI. Reading through the paper, I was like super hyped. I was like, oh man, this is awesome, great thing that came out. And then as I was reading as to like the capabilities of the model, I thought that I read that the authors claim the models excel in meme perception. In fact, what the paper actually said was that the model excels in MME perception. So I kind of misread something there. But it turns out that MME perception, which itself is a subset of a larger benchmark called MME, this benchmark actually measures 10 kind of subtasks with respect to perception, coarse grain recognition, fine grain recognition, and OCR. And actually, if you think about it, that's not too different than a task that would be meme perception. And I argue that actually memes are a really, really solid proving ground for a vision language model because there's a lot of different challenging aspects, both visual and linguistic understanding when it comes to looking at a meme, right? Because a meme has both visual and text element, and you need to understand both of those as well as how they interact. Also, memes rely on like a shared kind of cultural knowledge or reference. And there's also some humor that happens with meme, kind of between the subtle interactions between the image and the text. Uh, Also, like the text that appears in a meme, they're different formats, they're different templates, they're different styles. It's kind of all over the place, right? Different font sizes, different, kind of positions. Um, I just think it's robust, right? A really good way to assess a VLM's ability to kind of understand what's happening. And so I did like a really highly rigorous academic kind of journal quality study and experiment. I think my findings from this, I'm going to create like a brand new benchmark and write a paper. I'm going to submit this to NeurIPS. I'm going to advocate for the fact that we need to have a meme benchmark to assess vision language models against. I'm kind of half joking when I say that. I think I'm actually going to ask Jimmy if I can have some time on the clock to do this. But essentially, what we're going to do now in this quick session here is we're going to say Janus Pro versus Moondream 2 on essentially 4 tasks: OCR, meme understanding, caption generation, then also how good are these models at paying attention to detail. So I'm going to pull up some code here. I'll drop a link after I'm done talking here to the GitHub repo so you can run all this kind of on your own as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I built a couple of plugins that allow you to use Moondream and Janus Pro on your FiftyOne dataset. I think by now you guys have seen a little bit of FiftyOne in action with the first presentation, but let me know in the chat as well. Like if you've heard of FiftyOne, drop a FiftyOne. If you've never heard of FiftyOne before or never used FiftyOne, drop a 50 just to let me know. But essentially, the thing about FiftyOne being open source and hackable is that we have this plugin kind of framework, which is just essentially a way for you to kind of extend the functionality of the library. And this is really useful because when something new comes, when something new drops, like you want to be able to quickly iterate with it on your data set, FiftyOne gives you the opportunity to do that via plugins. But first part of this notebook is essentially just setting up some environment variables, downloading whatever we need to download and all that. And then we're downloading a data set that I've parsed to my HuggingFace account. And it's an ML memes data set. So I've linked here. It's actually a set of memes that I got from a website, scott.ai, from Scott Penberthy. And so you could check that out as well as the other data sets that we have on the Voxel 51 org on Hugging Face. So we download that data set and it looks something like this. So I'm going to view it in the browser. So you can see here, really interesting memes that we've got. We've got all sorts of text all over the place, different sizes and all that. And if you squint really hard here, you'll see kind of the attribution tag of Scott.ai, which, to the human eye, when you're first looking at it, you might miss. But we're going to, this is going to be important later when I test and see how good a VLM is at understanding that. So first thing we're going to do after we download our data set, after we've downloaded our plugins, after we've done a quick little visual vibe check of what's in the data set, we instantiate our operators. And so an operator allows you to interact with the plugin programmatically. However, you can also interact with the plugin in the app. So once you have the plugin installed, you can hit backtick and then you can type in Moondream. Sorry, spelled that wrong. Moon, Moondream, right? And you can fill out all this stuff here. You can see you can access all the different Moondream checkpoints. And essentially everything that you fill out here in the SDK, you just fill out in the app. Likewise for Janus, it's the same thing, Janus. And you can select from the 2 Janus checkpoints and fill out all that stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is actually just see how good these models are at OCR. So everything's kind of been pre-run here already. I ran all this on my local GPU. It's a NVIDIA RTX 6000 Ada. It's a small data set, whatever, 57, 60 something images. And this took just a handful of seconds for each model. So it's quite quick. So let's go ahead now and I'll pull these up. So we'll do the Janus OCR and the Moondream OCR. We can get a sense for which one of these models does better, right? So I don't have ground truth on these models, so we're kind of just going to visual vibe check it. So Moondream here in red, Janus here in this purplish type of color, and kind of just doing a visual vibe check. Okay, we see here's a place that Moondream doesn't do as well, but as we kind of look through here a little bit more, we can get a visual kind of vibe check as to how well each one of these does. I found this interesting. Look, we're looking at Janus here. If we look at this, it says use an eyeball test. Janus is parsing that as eye-bay rather than eyeball, which I thought was interesting to see. And you can see same thing here. So it's looking like Janus is having trouble parsing the double L's correctly. But overall, just getting a visual vibe check of this, it looks kind of like, it could be a toss-up, could be a tie. You know what? I'm going to let you guys explore this more in depth on your own when you read the blog post. I'll publish a blog post, but I'll give you a GitHub repo. But let me know in the 51 community when you guys check this out, which one you like better. But we're able to quickly just run this kind of visual vibe check and analysis from that perspective. Just looking at it, it looks like a toss-up between Janus and Moondream when it comes to OCR. The next task I did was actually meme understanding. So meme understanding, it's essentially just trying to figure out if the vision language model can understand kind of the context of what is happening in this meme. So again, just passed a question and with essentially one call was able to run this against our 51 data set. And from here, we can see the meme understanding outputs here. Meme understanding outputs are a bit longer. So what we're going to have to do is just kind of look for that here, meme understanding. Hover over this and a box will pop up. So it says this image from, this is the question one. Here's the Janus meme understanding. You see Janus gives you like a proper kind of analysis here. Moondream, straight to the point, I actually kind of like that as well. We could see as we go through here, Janus has like a style that it responds in, like kind of structured and detailed analysis, whereas Moondream gets straight to the point and tells you what's different. So without any ground truth or anything like that, it's hard to truly assess which one's better. But at least now we have a kind of visual vibe check way of checking this out as a initial point of analysis. Of course, this is why I advocate for a meme benchmark. If you want to work on a meme benchmark with me, submit this to Nira Ips, let me know. The next task, there's a couple tasks. One was the meme understanding, one that I quickly skipped over Well, there's the OCR, the meme understanding. Actually, we did both of those. Here is the attribution tag. So let's go ahead and now look at the kind of responses for those for the attribution tags. So we'll look at the Janus attribution and the Moondream attribution, Janus in light green, Moondream in dark green. And I mean, it just looks like Moondream crushes it with respect to that. So really fine-grained detail looks like Moondream is able to pick up on, and it really just follows the instructions, right? Like I literally said, just respond with just the author's name. Janus is giving me like this long-winded response and is giving me it's not following the instructions essentially, whereas Moondream is able to kind of pick that up right off the bat. So you know, not too bad, not too bad. I'll give that one to Moondream. Another thing that we can actually test these models are just actually captioning raw images as memes. So we're going to do that as well. There's another data set that we're going to use, uncaptioned data set, and we'll see how well these models are able to caption these particular data sets. So we'll go here, VLM captioned memes. We'll look at the Janus caption and the Moondream caption. We can look at each one of these in more detail by clicking in and hovering over the appropriate field. So here, this meme is a representation of deep learning model. So not really following the instructions. Maybe I could have been a bit more clear about, how to respond in a meme, maybe done some examples. In both of these situations, they're just kind of describing what's in there. Well, in this case, Janus does actually kind of try to caption it. Moondream, in this case, just gives a proper regular caption. But yeah, I thought this was a fun, interesting way to test the ability of a vision language model. If anybody is truly actually interested in coming up and actually like helping me annotate this and helping me create a meme benchmark, I think we have a solid paper on our hands. But real quick introduction into how you can use FiftyOne with vision language models and how you can use the plugin framework. As promised, I'm going to drop a link to the actual blog that we have here. Well, it's actually just a GitHub repo for right now. It'll be a blog later today. And I encourage you guys to check this out and hack around with them, and join the community and Discord and let me know what you uncover. That being said, like I said, I was going to keep it short and quick and be respectful for everyone's time, because I know Parsa has a awesome presentation about how to actually fine tune Moondream. So we got somebody from the Moondream team actually here. So this is a really rare opportunity. So thank you guys for being here, and check this blog out. Let me